All right, guys, welcome to Nutrition with Mach 1.
Your two favorite beefcakes, ready to talk about proper nutrition and answer some of the questions you guys submitted. So, over the questions we got, we're going to start off with a very common theme, I would say, is I'm not hungry, but I'm trying to get all my calories in. What do I do? So, Jason, what would you do?
So, it depends. Are you not getting all your calories in and you're eating 3 meals a day? Or are you not getting all your calories in and you're not really fitting in time to eat at all, right? So, I would say not that everyone needs to have 3 meals a day. You can obviously get by with less if you're getting all your calories in, or more if you spread it across. But if you're not getting your calories that you need to, and you're not eating super frequently, then we need to look for ways to increase that frequency. If you're someone who skips breakfast, then you're missing out on potentially 400 to 800 really good fueling calories for the day. Maybe we need to figure out strategies on how to get that breakfast meal in for the day. And we will be talking a little bit at the end of this video about meal planning and staying ahead of the game. So we will touch on that in a little bit more detail later on, but that would be one angle to attack into. But let's say in the situation that you're getting a good amount of meals in, maybe you're getting 3 to 4, including a snack, and you're still not getting those calories in, then we need to talk about how do we increase the caloric density of your foods, right? We don't want to just deep fry everything because that's not healthy. That's not the best way or the most, nutritious way to get those calories in. But maybe we need to look into more nutrient-dense options when it comes to, or I should say calorie-dense options when it comes to our food. So, let's say you're someone that includes yogurt in your diet. Rather than getting fat-free yogurt, get whole Greek yogurt. Now it's going to be a little bit more calories. You're still getting the protein that you're getting from the Greek yogurt. It's still essentially the same food. It's just higher caloric density. Or maybe with say your protein, again on the topic of protein, you're getting your chicken in. Maybe you're going for more chicken breast. Include a chicken breast and the chicken thigh.
Some dark meat.
Dark meat, that's a great way. Now you're not really changing what you're eating, but you're getting a little bit more caloric dense options, right? In terms of, carbohydrates as well, same kind of angle, right? You don't want to look for things that are just overloaded in saturated or trans fats with your carbs, right? But simply just increasing the load on your plate can help get those extra calories in.
Also, with the carbohydrates, going with something like a more starchy kind of carbohydrate will definitely help up the calories per serving. So if you look at a cucumber versus a potato, both carbohydrates, but you're going to get a lot more calories out of a baked potato than you would a cucumber. Just things to consider like that when you're putting together your side meals and all that. One thing that Jason kind of started with is, if you're familiar with the expression, you can't party all day unless you start early, the same thing kind of happens with nutrition. So if you tend to wait until lunch to get your calories in, that's the whole principle of intermittent fasting, right? So if you're giving yourself a smaller window to get your calories in, you have to cram those calories into a shorter amount of time. So you have to really make each meal count. And that's going to make you fill up pretty quick. And a lot of people are like, I'm so full, I can't get these calories in. I don't know how you do it.
That's why people lose weight on intermittent fasting. There's not really anything special about the fasting portion per se. It's as much just hard to get that caloric need in. So, like Pat is saying, if you're already someone who has struggled with an appetite, waiting that long between meals is probably not the best for you.
And also, fun fact, if you are looking to slowly taper down, lose a little weight, just watch the video in reverse. We're talking about kind of getting the calories in to meet your goals, but if you're looking to cut calories out and make sure you're still satisfied, satiated, then same principles, just instead of having the whole milk or whole dairy Greek yogurt, have the low fat option, just make those subtle changes, but don't, jump ship and go to a totally different diet routine.
Exactly. I think a lot of this comes down to like what we're going to touch into later when it comes to meal planning.
Definitely.
You kind of alluded to it before. If you're not prepared, then that kind of throws off your entire strategy when it comes to nutrition as is.
But what happens when you wake up and you don't have an appetite? You're just like, damn it, Patrick! Like, you're telling me to eat so early and it just makes me nauseous. Well, why do you need to eat these luxurious big meals? Find something that's happy with your stomach. Maybe it's like an avocado toast. Maybe it's like a protein shake. Maybe it's a Greek yogurt with some granola. You need a little bit extra like carbohydrates and sugar, so you put some honey in it. Spice it up a little bit. You have options to accommodate based on what your body's tolerating, and it can be as small or big of a portion as you need. So if you have a hard time getting up and at it and starting your day with a meal, maybe going something easy to swallow, easy to digest, like a protein shake, even some like applesauce, stuff like that is a great way to get things moving.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like if you're waking up at like what you're saying and you have trouble just getting that first meal in, you just kind of jog my brain with like two different things. One, what's your morning routine look like? Do you stay in bed for a while and then get up? Because if you're not moving and you're not like getting blood circulating, like there's going to be no energy demand for food. So
rest and digest.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're just lying in bed for 30 minutes before you really get your day started, then you're probably not going to be that hungry anyway, because you're just lying down doing nothing. Your body doesn't need those calories. But also to what you said, sometimes just a little stimulation to that metabolism, like you might have like a small serving of fruit or like applesauce, like you said, or just, it doesn't have to be like a big meal to start your day, but just sometimes getting in a little bit stimulates you, and then like 30 to 40 minutes later, you're like, oh, you know what, I'm kind of hungry now, now that you ate a little bit. So
and
that's actually a really good strategy.
Traditional breakfast time,
Exactly. So you might need like a little pre-breakfast to stimulate you and get you ready for breakfast, and nothing wrong with that. Even if it's like a fruit juice, like an orange juice, like get a little bit of sugars in you, get a little bit of calories, get that digestive system up and running after essentially fasting overnight.
So I would say those are great ways to definitely sneak calories in throughout the morning and set yourself up throughout the day for more time to consume calories.
Exactly.
One thing that we do want to address is also our second question of the day, getting these calories in to meet your protein goals. So with protein, we look for 0.8 grams to 1.2 grams per body weight. So with that being
pound of body weight.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I know, kilos, pounds, weightlifters, sorry, pound per body weight. So with that being said, you might look at the number and be like, that's impossible. How do I get this much protein in a daily sitting? So if you need to break up your protein meal to meal as a priority, it's a great way to strategize what you're going to be consuming. So one tactic I personally use is I pick my meals based off the protein first. So for me, I don't say I'm going to have a mashed potato dinner and have a side of steak. I'm having a steak dinner with a side of mashed potato. My protein comes first, and I make sure I'm getting enough of that per serving. And you just kind of carry that same principle meal to meal, whatever you decide to consume that day.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy, is to break up the total calories that you need to have in a day into more, quite literally, bite-sized digestible components, right? 180 grams of protein sounds like a lot. You're not going to get 180 grams of protein in one or two sittings, but you break it up into 3 or 4 different opportunities, right? 180 divided by 6 is only 30. So if you have 30 grams of protein 6 times a day, that might be a lot more realistic. Or maybe your lifestyle, you need to have more protein per meal, less serving, whatever works for your day-to-day, but breaking it up into, okay, what meal or what snack or how much protein am I getting per meal and snack, and how do I add that up to my total protein daily needs? Right, that's a lot easier to conceptualize than 180 or 150, 130, 200, whatever it is that you're looking to strive for.
And one thing, if you've worked with us through nutrition before, you know that we prioritize whole foods first. However, when you have target numbers like that are, might be out of reach or unachievable for you, supplement it with supplements, So that's where a protein shake, on average, like a ready to go, like shaken open pound it down, is going to be about 25, 30 grams right there. So if you have 180 divided by 6 meals, one protein shake during breakfast to start your day, nice and easy to digest. With a glass of water, you start your day with 30 grams. You only have 150 left, and you didn't even brush your teeth yet, You have the whole day ahead to kind of break it down and simplify your meals like that.
Exactly.
So you can pick some higher protein options. So maybe instead of traditional oatmeal, you do overnight oats with a scoop of whey protein. You do eggs, and then you put a little extra egg white in the mix to just kind of add up some protein without doing full eggs. There's
Exactly.
different strategies and tactics like that to really just sneak those calories in.
Exactly.
One thing I do have a question. On average, how much protein can your body absorb at once?
It's funny you mentioned that, because that's exactly what I was going to go into next.
Oh, excellent.
We didn't plan that, by the way. We're just that much on the same
we're in
wavelength.
sync.
So a typical recommendation is that your body can only absorb 30 to 35 grams of protein in one sitting. That's kind of a myth. Your body can handle more protein than that. There's definitely times where I'll have breakfast or a lunch with 50 to 60 grams of protein. Not that you need that much protein per serving, but again, it kind of comes down to scheduling or breaking down, okay, what's your total, and then how many meals and snacks you're gonna have, and spread it across. Maybe at one snack, you're gonna get 10 or 11 grams of protein, If it works for you to just kind of sneak in 10 here, 10 there, 15 here, 20 there, that works. It's gonna add up eventually. If that works for the kind of day and lifestyle you have, great. And then maybe one of those big meals, you're getting 55 grams of protein in, awesome, right? So in an ideal scenario, maybe you're shooting for between 30 to 40 grams per meal. But again, it could be as low as 10 to 15 and as high as 60, and that'll get the job done.
And the 30 to 40 grams is the average, right? So some people can absorb more, some people absorb less. The key is to maximize your absorption, right? So we recommend 30 to 40 grams per serving because it's going to maximize your uptake with that. However, if you do struggle with protein, it's better to get 50 grams in and absorb closer to that 40 and have a little 10 left over than be oh, well, I didn't get enough protein, now you're stuck at 20, and you missed that window for the day.
Right.
So,
I think a lot of that also comes down to your food selection.
It does.
Also, so it's not just the type of food that is your protein source that you're choosing, because that will make a difference too, but it's also what are you having with those foods. So it's okay, if you're having a steak, let's say, which might in and of itself be a little bit harder to digest, if you're having that with really low glycemic carbs, which takes a longer time to digest than higher glycemic carbs, which we're going to get into in a little bit also, that's a lot of things that's just going to sit in your gut, and that's going to take a while to digest, and that'll keep you full for a really long time, which might be what you need, what you're looking for, but it's not always what you're going to be looking for. So if you're having those low glycemic carbs plus something that's maybe steak, which is going to have a higher fat content and higher protein content too, but it's going to take more time to break down, that might slow that digestion. So you might not want to have a serving of steak that has 40 to 50 grams of protein. You might want to have something that's more in the 25 to 35 serving, portion size wise, because if you're going to have it with a lower glycemic carb, because it's going to take a while to digest, you don't want to overload your gut. Just like we periodize our training, you almost want to periodize your gut.
And this is coming from the perspective of general protein nutrition, right? If you are looking to do a weight loss goal or you're looking to do a bulking goal, there's different reasons for different food choices. So something like, hey, I'm seeing great results with my weight loss because I'm having these high protein numbers, 60 gram ribeyes. Cool, that's awesome, and that's also going back to the absorption rate. It's going to be very slow and gradual. You're going to be fuller longer, so you're going to be less likely to binge on different snacks and high calorie options with low glycemic index that are going to cause insulin spikes. So when we get into the science of all that stuff, that's a conversation for later. Go on our website. We have nutrition coaching where we can really dive into the details with you, but we're going into this perspective on just general protein intake and education. Just keep that in mind.
Exactly. And this is a good time in the video. If you do have any questions up until this point or about anything that we continue to discuss, drop a comment. We'll be getting right back to you.
Down there.
Right there somewhere. It says
Yeah.
add comment. You click it, you type it, we answer.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good jumping off point to continue into the next topic, which is how to choose the right type of carbohydrate.
Alrighty, so carbohydrates, they break down in their simplest sense into glucose. So glucose is another way of kind of saying blood sugar, if you want to look at it from that way. And everything that goes up always has to come down. That's where insulin comes in. So everyone knows insulin through diabetes and stuff like that, but your body naturally produces insulin unless you have diabetic issues. So the response that your body does to your carb intake based on insulin levels is going to affect your energy. It's going to predict how long it takes to digest and also how rapid that source is going to be available to you. So when it's coming down to picking the right carbohydrates, the question is, what am I doing? Like, why do I want these carbs? And if
Real
you're
philosophical here.
yeah, we're getting deep. So if you're like, hey, let's go. Pre-workout's ready, we're bumping, we're cruising, you're about to step on the platform and get sendy with us, we want something with a little higher glycemic index.
Say a lot higher.
Yeah. I'm being modest.
Yeah.
So, a lot higher. So, you want something that's going to be readily available, is going to be used in a matter of seconds and minutes, and produce that instant energy surplus for you. When it's time to relax and digest and recover, you're going to want something the complete opposite. So that's where you want to have something lower glycemic index, a little bit more fiber and stuff like that. It's going to be going back to longer, slower digesting, like we talked about with supplementing those proteins with the carbohydrates. Keep you full, allow your body a chance to absorb nutrients, and also a chance to clear your bowels out. Let digestion occur and set up for the next meal. So food choices.
Don't forget your fiber.
Don't forget your fiber. A lot of people are under the fiber recommendations on the daily, so definitely important to know what you're putting in your body.
Real quick on the fiber note.
Yes.
This is a question for you, open-ended. Drop it in the comments. How many times a day do you poop? Let's get personal. We want to know.
Got to poop.
So drop it in the comments. We want to know. But sorry, continue.
I mean, we'll save this conversation for more of that one-on-one stuff, but it's not weird to think about and observe your poop, right? So
No, it's not.
Is it solid or squishy or somewhere in between, like a lost squid?
Does it float? Does it sink?
Is it green? Is it blue? Is it black?
Oh, God.
Then you got some digestive issues. But
Definitely.
if it's like different in color, if it floats, if it sinks, if it's long, if it's short, if it's wet, if it's clumpy, like all that stuff is a sign of how well your body is absorbing different nutrients and why your body is either rejecting or clearing out the stuff in it.
When you drop that comment, because this is on YouTube, it might violate some terms and agreements so don't post your picture with the comment.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's self-awareness.
Yeah.
If you want to put it on your phone for your own well-being, cool.
Or if you're nutrition coaching with us, then you could share that. But keep.
That costs extra.
Yeah, that costs extra.
If we're staring at your poop, it's going to cost you. So, anyway, where were we with that?
We just mentioned
Fiber
fiber,
and carbs, right?
and yes, we're talking about carbs. And again, just kind of summarizing what we're talking about when it comes to choosing the right carbs. And I think this will all in all segue to what we're getting at, since we mentioned at the beginning of the video. When it comes to meal planning, there's opportunities when you're going to want to have those higher glycemic carbs. There's opportunities when you're going to want to have lower glycemic carbs. If you're someone who works out after work at 7 p.m. and your breakfast probably should have a lower glycemic carbs. Your lunch should be maybe a little bit higher, right? You're going to want that energy to last longer, right? So you want something to digest longer. As you're getting closer and closer to that window before you work out, the glycemic index of your carbohydrate intake should get higher and higher because you're getting closer and closer to meeting the energy demands of your carbs, right? Or inversely, if you work out in the morning, maybe you're working out at 5 a.m., you're getting up, maybe you just need a glass of orange juice, get that quick sugar rush, go hit your workout, come home. Now it's more, smooth sailing, lower glycemic carbs for the rest of the day, into like your overnight for the next morning's training session. That's a little bit more into timing of your carbs, which is, definitely a whole other topic that we can get into in its own right. But
understand the basics first before we get into the advanced, like 5% micro changes of nutrient timing.
Exactly. But I think this is a good opportunity to start talking about, not necessarily meal prepping. I don't like to always say meal prepping because not everyone has it in part of their lifestyle to prepare every single meal. Definitely planning, knowing, staying ahead of the game, knowing, okay, like what does my day look like tomorrow? What is my eating schedule going to be like tomorrow? Especially if you're a weightlifter or any type of athlete, or if you just care about your health, fuel your body for performance for the day, whether it's working out, whatever it is, know what you have and how to plan for it.
So one of my favorite quotes from the good old $100 bill guy is, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So if you can go into it and you can plan out your meals, maybe the night before, maybe for the week, maybe it's when you go grocery shopping, so that way you know what you have on hand for the week when you do decide, hey, I'm hungry, what can I eat? It's all pre-planned, and there's some sort of like general acknowledgement to what you're putting in your body. When you lack that structure, that's when you start grabbing at the most convenient things, and that's where, you get those gas station hot dogs or the fast food drive-thrus and stuff like that just because you're ravishing and you need something to kind of get that quick fix. Otherwise, you feel like you're going to pass out or whatever, and like you don't want that,
Really quick on that note, because sometimes it does happen, and like it happens to me all the time where I do need to stop into like Wawa and grab something. But what we're trying to push for you guys and gals is that if you know ahead of time, I'm going to need to stop somewhere and get food, you can plan where you're going to stop, what you're going to get, right? It doesn't have to be just a game time decision. And, there will be that situation where it does happen, but it doesn't always have to be like a stressful, like, oh my God, what am I going to eat? Well, this is easy. I'm just going to grab this like already pre-made sandwich off of the rack at Wawa, which is just overloaded with fats, and maybe you could have picked out a better option, right? If you know that you're going to need to stop somewhere and get something quick, there's likely somewhere that you can stop and get the best option for you. And that's, again, where that meal planning or just your day planning comes really in handy, and knowing what is going to be ahead of you, and that probably is going to just carry over into your day-to-day life anyway in an even better situation.
This gem is one of my favorite secrets, especially being a nutrition coach in New Jersey. So if you are in New Jersey, that means you probably love pizza, right? It's kind of just what we do. It's what we're known for, right? Pizza and pork roll. That's our thing. So
yes, it's pork roll.
Yes, it is pork roll. If you call it Taylor ham, you were kicked off the team, and there's no exceptions. You're fired. If you don't know what pork roll or Taylor ham is, we'll let it slide, but you're only going to refer to it as pork roll from here on out. Thank you, and thank you. Pizza. So, say you go into a pizza place because you didn't bring lunch today, and you're just like, well, I need pizza because it's, across the street, or it's super convenient. Did you know you can get non-pizza related things from a pizzeria? Like, oh my God. So,
but
maybe, the grilled chicken that they put in like their sandwiches or on their like pasta dishes, or maybe even on the pizza, you can get grilled chicken, for like a lean source of protein, and like maybe some like sauteed spinach and like mozzarella and balsamic, some like roasted red pepper, like
put that even over like a pasta.
God. You can put that over a pasta. You could even make it a sandwich if you want.
Or a sandwich.
Like you can have it as is. Like go in and ask. You'll be surprised. There's plenty of options, and if you catch yourself looking at the menu and you're just like, I don't know what to eat, none of this is working with my macros if you track them, like, what do I do with myself? Break down the menu. Be like, I want chicken. Well, what do I want with my chicken? I want this. Oh, well, they have this on this page and they have this on this page. That means it's in the kitchen somewhere. Build your own meals. They'll come up with a price, you know, and it's usually like pretty fair to something comparable on the menu.
But I think that's a good point. Like, I mean, like, especially, again, pizzeria in New Jersey, all of them have some sort of sauteed peppers, all of them have broccoli rabe, all of them have grilled chicken, and all of them have either some sort of bread or pasta that they could put it on or on top of. Like, and it's probably in some way, shape, or form on the menu, and if it's just like doused in oil, you could just say light on oil or no oil or whatever it is, like, and now you've made yourself a solid option, right?
And that quick trip across the street to get some pizza just became a healthy quick trip across the street to get like some protein and veggies.
Exactly. So,
and a slice of pizza, you know, for good measure. But now you're not having now you're not having 3 or 4 slices. You're having one as like a little treat with your healthy option as well.
There
so,
you go.
Checks and balances.
Exactly. And you know, it makes so much of a difference to just think ahead of time. Like, even if it's just one day at a time, it doesn't have to be like your whole week is exactly meticulously written out. If you're that kind of person, great. If you're the person that's just like, okay, like tomorrow, what am I having? Hopefully, if it works for your lifestyle to do something like that, great. But if you find that like you're crunching that in and it's like, okay, what am I having tomorrow? I don't know. So now you're not getting what you need. Maybe it's not really working out for your lifestyle. And you referred to it earlier, not to jump around too much, but when you're going to the grocery store, right, and planning out your meals in the grocery store, it's really a good idea to go in there with a list, right? Write down what are you going to do for your proteins for the week? What are you going to do for your carbs for the week? Get some different options with your high glycemic, low glycemic, fibers, starches, combinations of those.
Get some treats too, you know, enjoy life.
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do for your micronutrients, your fruits, your veggies? What are you going to do for your healthy fats? So get that all on your list, right? You can probably, just by writing down the foods that you like in those categories, you can come up with meals to make. Like, it's nothing that necessarily needs to be gourmet. And then go to the spices section and season your food so it actually tastes good and you don't hate yourself. And
with that being said, you can literally buy like 6 pounds of chicken and like subdivide that with 6 different seasonings and have like a pound of chicken with like a totally different meal and vibe. And you know, with that, you're just like, hey, we're gonna do chicken fajitas, you know, or hey, we're gonna do like a curry, you know, with the chicken, or hey, we're gonna do like some chicken cutlets, you know, or you know, you have those different options based on, hey, I'm just getting chicken, you know, treat it the way you want it to be consumed.
Did you know you could take chicken breast, put it all in a crock pot, don't even need to add water or anything, take adobo, season the shit out of it in the crock pot, mix it all together, put it on low heat for like 10 hours overnight, and then you got shredded chicken? It's that easy. It's that easy. So you can literally prepare like whatever, a family pack of chicken is probably like 3 pounds of chicken breast, right? You got 3 pounds of chicken breast prepared in just an overnight. And now just it's all shredded chicken.
Low, go to sleep, and then wake up, and then you got lunch and dinner planned for the next day.
And it's literally so easy to put shredded chicken into a Tupperware. It's literally just weigh it, done. It's like the most easily prepared thing, and it's easier than grilling.
But what if I don't have a scale? How do I know how much chicken I'm having?
Great question. We always recommend, if you don't have a scale, if you do, that's definitely going to give you the more exact, precise measurements of things. But you can go based, I don't want to show my hands, I got blisters. Show your hands.
I got pretty hands.
So we go based on fist size for protein serving.
Both thick and
circumference, yes, all around. Yes.
So if I just put my fist on a plate
That's
and I was
protein.
like, here's my chicken thigh. That's about the same size as a traditional chicken thigh. I got myself a serving of protein right there. To say, hey, this is only 20 grams, and Patrick and Jason said I can consume like 40, boom, we got 2 portions.
There you go. So I think we went through a good amount so far. So again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'd be happy to answer. We want to do more of these, so the more questions you have, the more we can do this for you guys. Hopefully it helps. And anything final notes you want to leave off on?
One highlight that you kind of said before was I don't want to bounce back and forth too much, but notice how we bounce back and forth a lot because all this stuff works together. There's no exact A equals B, which equals C. Like, it's everything in unison. That's what creates a meal. That's what creates an experience. That's what makes you enjoy eating, you know? But as much as you enjoy eating, if you're mindful of it and you know why you're eating, you're fueling your body. And when you fuel your body, you're giving it the energy it needs to perform. And when you perform, that's what gets you gains. And the more gains you have, that's the more fuel you need. So essentially, you're just starting here and you're building your way up to eating more, enjoying life, and hitting more PRs. So it's as easy as that.
On that note, I think it's time for us to go eat.
Let's go eat. Lunchtime.
All right, Mach 1 out. Boom.